Chosen one, there is a silence heavier than noise, a weight that presses not from enemies, but from those who sit closest to you. Behind the smiles, behind the familiar words, behind the gestures of comfort, something has been concealed. They laugh with you, walk with you, even pray with you, yet a part of them is guarding a truth they dare not speak aloud. The air feels familiar but strange, safe but tense, warm but cold all at once. You sense it, the hidden current beneath the surface of relationships you thought unshakable. And though they may never admit it, the truth they hide is shaping the very way they look at you, the way they speak around you, the way they hold back what they know. This is not about strangers, this is about the people who have always been nearest, and their silence speaks louder than their words. Stay with this message until the end, because every line carries energy meant to open your eyes, strengthen your spirit, and align you with the path ahead. And when you finish, I ask you to take one small step of release. Write your warmest wishes in the comments with the number 777. Do it once with clear intention. It is more than words, it is a declaration to the universe that you are ready to uncover what is hidden, ready to break the fog of deception, ready to step into clarity. That act becomes a signal, a ripple of alignment, and what you give will return multiplied. Deception does not always wear the face of an enemy. Often it comes cloaked in closeness, in comfort, in familiarity. Those who sit nearest to you are the ones who can cover truths most effectively because you do not question them. You trust them. You lower your guard around them. And it is in that trust that concealment thrives. They may not lie outright, but they withhold, they shade, they redirect. They hide not only facts but intentions, not only details but motives. This concealment becomes heavier than spoken lies because it erodes you from within, making you question your own intuition. The hardest truths to see are the ones closest to you. You have always expected betrayal from outside, but when it comes from within your circle, it is disorienting. You ask yourself, why would they hide this? Why would they keep silence when they could speak? Why would they choose deception when love should make them honest? These questions gnaw at the edges of your trust. But understand this, their silence is not about your weakness. It is about their fear. Fear of your strength, fear of your clarity, fear of what will happen when you finally see the whole picture. Their concealment is their attempt to delay the inevitable moment when truth breaks through and you step into the power they cannot control. Freedom begins not with others confessing, but with you discerning. You cannot wait for them to hand you the truth. They may never do it. You must listen beneath their words, observe the cracks in their consistency, feel the heaviness in their energy. The intuition you have tried to silence is, in fact, your sharpest weapon. Every time your spirit whispered that something was off, it was not paranoia. It was perception. You were born with the ability to sense what eyes cannot see. That is why their silence cannot fool you forever. You will always feel the weight of what is hidden, even when no one speaks of it. Do not mistake closeness for transparency. Proximity does not equal honesty. Some of the people who sit nearest to you are the very ones who hide the most, not because they hate you, but because they cannot bear to face the truth themselves. They cloak it in laughter, in half-truths, in distractions. But their avoidance is the loudest confession. The very effort it takes to conceal reveals that something worth hiding exists. Pay attention not only to what they say, but to what they avoid, to what they rush past, to the silence that follows your questions. Their discomfort is the outline of the truth they fear to reveal. The danger of hidden truths is not only in what they conceal, but in how they shape you when you do not know them. They stunt your decisions, limit your trust, blur your vision. You begin to doubt yourself, to shrink, to hesitate, thinking you are the one who is wrong. But the moment you name it, the moment you acknowledge that something is being withheld, the fog begins to clear. Awareness breaks the power of deception. What they hide loses its grip the instant that you step into clarity. It is no longer about whether they speak, it is about whether you see. This is why this moment matters. You are being called to rise beyond deception, beyond half-truths, beyond silence. The hidden cannot remain hidden forever. The pressure of what they conceal is cracking, and soon what was locked away will be exposed. The lies will unravel, the masks will slip, the whispers will surface. And when they do, you must be ready, not with anger, but with clarity, not with vengeance, but with vision. For the truth will not come to destroy you, it will come to free you, and once you see it, nothing will ever bind you again. The closer someone stands to you, the easier it is for them to disguise their silence as care. Familiarity becomes their camouflage. They smile, they embrace, they speak in tones that seem protective, but underneath those gestures, something is missing, the full truth. And this absence gnaws at the edges of your awareness. You feel it in pauses too long to be natural, in eyes that glance away at the wrong moment, in words carefully chosen to conceal more than they reveal. What they hide weighs more than what they say. It lingers in the air like a presence unacknowledged, thickening every conversation with unspoken tension. What makes this so heavy is that your heart was never guarded against them. Strangers could not wound you in this way, only those nearest can. You opened yourself, you trusted, you shared, and in return, they concealed. This betrayal is not always dramatic, it is subtle, quiet, invisible to anyone who is not looking closely. And that subtlety makes it more dangerous because it destabilizes from within. It leaves you questioning yourself before you question them. You replay conversations, searching for clues, wondering if your instincts are wrong. But deep down you already know silence is never empty. Silence is always filled with something. The truth is that they are not only hiding facts, they are hiding their fears. They fear what your clarity would mean, fear how your rising would change the balance, fear what would happen if you no longer depended on their version of reality. In their silence is not only concealment, but control. As long as you do not know the full story, they feel safer. They feel as though they can manage the narrative, keep the scales tilted in their favor. But the energy of truth cannot be buried forever. The more they push it down, the more it rises, and you can already feel it pressing against the surface, demanding to be seen. Your intuition is the key in this season. For too long you were trained to dismiss it, to explain it away, to tell yourself you were imagining things, but every shift you sensed was real. Every heaviness in their presence was a signal. Every hesitation in their response was an alarm. You are not paranoid, you are perceptive. What you feel is not a mistake, it is a gift. That gift is what will carry you through the fog of their concealment. Listen to it, trust it. The very instincts they tried to make you doubt are the ones leading you toward clarity. When truth is hidden, relationships become performance. They laugh with you, but their eyes betray distraction. They agree with you, but their tone carries hesitation. They embrace you, but their body feels distant. You begin to realize that you are not interacting with the fullness of who they are. You are engaging with the mask they have chosen to wear. And the longer someone wears a mask, the heavier it becomes. Eventually it slips, and in those moments, even if brief, you glimpse the reality they try so hard to suppress. Pay attention to those slips. They are windows into the truth. The danger of deception is not only external, it is internal. Hidden truths shape the way you see yourself. When people withhold, you begin to wonder if perhaps you are undeserving of honesty, if perhaps the silence is proof of your inadequacy. But this is the lie that concealment thrives on. It feeds on your self-doubt, convincing you that you are the problem. But the truth is the opposite. They hide not because you are weak, but because you are strong. They fear what will happen when you see clearly, when you understand fully, when you rise without the weight of their control. Their silence is not your weakness. It is their confession. You are stepping into a season where masks can no longer hold. The energy of truth is too strong, and deception is cracking. Those who hid behind silence will find their words unraveling. Those who built false narratives will see them collapse under the pressure of reality. What has been hidden in shadows is shifting into light, and when it does, the revelation may sting, but it will also liberate. It will show you what you always sensed, but could not articulate. It will confirm that your intuition was not lying, and it will free you from the confusion that silence once created. Prepare yourself for the weight of revelation. The truths that surface may hurt, but they will heal. They may shake you, but they will steady you. They may cut deep, but they will also release the poison that secrecy left inside you. The exposure of what was hidden is not meant to break you, it is meant to strengthen you. It strips away illusions, leaving you grounded in reality. And though reality may be harsher than the comfort of half-truths, it is also more empowering. For in reality, you can stand firm, make decisions, and move forward without chains. The more clarity you gain, the stronger your rise becomes. You are no longer stumbling in half-light, you are walking in full vision. You see not only what they say, but what they conceal, not only who they present, but who they truly are. And this clarity shifts the balance. It removes the power of deception, returning strength to you. You no longer waste energy doubting yourself because you know the truth. And in knowing, you become unshakable. Their silence no longer defines you. Their concealment no longer restrains you. You are free not only from chains but from the fog that once blurred your sight. The moment always comes when silence can no longer hold its weight. Words unsaid grow too heavy, glances too revealing, energy too dense to disguise. The truths that were hidden begin to push against the walls of secrecy until they crack. And once they crack, everything that was concealed begins to spill out. You may not receive it in one dramatic confession. It may come in fragments, an accidental slip, an unguarded tone, a contradiction in their stories. Piece by piece, the puzzle you were never meant to solve begins to assemble itself, and what you suspected in whispers becomes undeniable in evidence. Revelation rarely feels gentle, it lands like a storm, disrupting what you thought was stable, shaking the structures you leaned on. The closer the person, the sharper the impact. For it is one thing to hear betrayal from the distant, but another to see deception in the eyes of those who claimed love. Your chest tightens, not only from the truth itself, but from the realization that they lived beside you while hiding it. The weight of that discovery stings in ways ordinary pain cannot reach, because it presses against your deepest places of trust. Yet even in that sting, there is release, because lies that once bound you are losing their grip. What you must remember is this: the truth does not arrive to destroy you, it arrives to free you. Even when it cuts, the cut is surgical, meant to remove what poisoned your spirit. Even when it shakes, the shaking dismantles only illusions, not your foundation. Illusions were never meant to hold you anyway. When the truth bursts through, it exposes weakness, not in you, but in the masks others chose to wear. Their silence, their avoidance, their concealment, these were never your burdens to carry. When the storm of revelation passes, what remains is not their power, but your clarity. Your spirit has been preparing you for this all along. That is why the revelation, no matter how shocking, feels familiar. You already knew in fragments, your intuition whispered it in the spaces between words. What you feel now is not surprise so much as confirmation. It is the closing of the gap between what you sensed and what you could not yet prove. And that closure, painful as it may be, sets you free from self-doubt. You are no longer trapped in questioning whether you imagined it. You see it clearly, and clarity is liberation. The exposure of truth often rearranges relationships. Some people will distance themselves, hoping to escape the accountability of what has been revealed. Others will try harder to control the narrative, spinning new versions of the story to protect themselves. A few may finally confess, releasing what they held back. Each response is a mirror, showing you who they truly are. And though it may hurt, it is also necessary. Masks cannot remain when the air is this clear. You are not meant to live surrounded by performances. You are meant to walk with those whose hearts beat openly, whose words match their actions, whose presence carries honesty rather than heaviness. As you grow in clarity, you also grow in discernment. You begin to see not only what people show, but what they withhold. You notice the pauses, the contradictions, the patterns, and you learn to trust your instincts more than their performances. This shift in you changes everything. No longer will you accept surface-level closeness. No longer will you silence your intuition to keep the peace. No longer will you trade your clarity for comfort. The person you are becoming values truth above illusion, transparency above appearances, alignment above approval. And once you taste this kind of discernment, you cannot go back. Revelation also awakens resilience. The shock of betrayal can break some, but in you it forges steel. You learn that even the truths withheld from you cannot stop your rise. Even the silence of those closest cannot silence your destiny. Their choices may sting, but they cannot strip you of what you carry. In fact, their concealment becomes part of your strength. For every hidden truth that is revealed becomes a stepping stone, lifting you higher, teaching you, sharpening you. Pain becomes wisdom, and wisdom becomes armor. You are no longer naive, no longer easily swayed, no longer bound by appearances. You are rising not in spite of what was hidden, but because of it. This is the paradox of truth. The very thing they feared would break you becomes the thing that makes you unbreakable. They withheld it to keep you small, but in discovering it, you grow larger than ever. They hid it to keep you dependent, but in uncovering it, you step into independence. They silenced themselves to control you, but in their silence, you learn to hear your own spirit more clearly. Every tactic meant to limit you has instead expanded you. This is how truth works. It cannot be buried forever, and when it rises, it empowers the one willing to face it. The time of illusions is ending. You are stepping into a life where clarity reigns, where hidden motives lose their hold, where you see people as they are, not as they pretend to be. This clarity will not only protect you from deception, it will guide you toward alignment. You will know who is truly for you and who only wears the mask of support. You will know whose presence lightens your spirit and whose drains it. And you will no longer compromise just to keep peace with those who cannot walk in honesty. Peace without truth is not peace, it is bondage. And you have been released from every chain, so let revelation come, let masks fall, let silence shatter. The truths they hid will no longer weigh on you, they will free you. And in that freedom you will rise stronger, clearer, bolder than ever before. When the hidden finally comes into light, there is always a shift. Some of the people you once trusted begin to drift, unable to stand in the presence of truth. Others grow quiet, no longer able to maintain the same performances that once kept you blind. You will notice the atmosphere changing, conversations shorter, smiles more forced, their energy carrying discomfort they cannot mask. What has been revealed unsettles them, but it liberates you. For the first time, you see with clarity who they are and what role they truly play in your life. It is a painful kind of freedom, but freedom nonetheless. This stage of your rise requires courage because clarity always rearranges your relationships. The ones who cannot handle truth will try to pull you back into denial. They may accuse you of being distant, changed, or even ungrateful. But what they are really saying is that your clarity disrupts their comfort. They would rather you remain bound in half-truths so they can remain unchallenged. Yet you cannot return to blindness once your eyes have been opened. To do so would be to betray yourself. So you must learn the art of release, letting go of those who cannot walk with you in this new reality. It does not mean hatred, it means honor. You honor what was, but you no longer chain yourself to what is not aligned. Loneliness often follows revelation. When the circle grows smaller, the silence can feel louder. You may find yourself standing without the familiar voices you once leaned on. But solitude in this season is not punishment, it is purification. It strips away the noise of those who once diluted your clarity. It gives you room to hear your own spirit without interference. It makes space for those who truly belong to arrive. And though the absence may ache at first, it is better to stand alone in truth than surrounded by deception. For truth, even when it isolates, builds a foundation that cannot be shaken. In this new atmosphere, you begin to notice something shifting within you. The strength you once searched for in others, you now discover in yourself. The validation you once sought from them, you now feel in your own spirit. The guidance you once begged for in voices outside now flows from your inner knowing. You become less dependent, more anchored, less easily swayed, more unshakable. This is the true gift of revelation, not only the exposure of others, but the awakening of yourself. What they withheld pushed you to cultivate what cannot be taken: discernment, confidence, resilience. You will also find that new connections begin to form as old ones fall away. The energy of truth attracts truth. When you refuse to settle for masks, you begin to draw people who are unafraid of transparency. They may be few, but they will be real. And real connections, no matter how rare, are worth more than 1,000 false ones. These new relationships will feel lighter, their presence refreshing instead of draining. With them, you can breathe deeply, speak freely, and walk without the weight of suspicion. They will not need to hide from you because your clarity does not intimidate them, it inspires them. This is how your environment transforms. Revelation not only shifts people out of your life, it makes space for alignment. Those who remain because they can stand in truth. Those who come because they are drawn to your authenticity. In this way, what was once painful becomes purposeful. You lose what cannot endure honesty, but you gain what thrives in it, and this new circle, though smaller, is far stronger. It is built not on convenience, but on trust, not on appearances, but on essence. As you navigate this transformation, you will feel tested. The pull of the past will try to lure you back. Old patterns, old comforts, old compromises. But you must remember that the person you are becoming cannot fit into the spaces you outgrew. The chains have fallen, the masks have slipped, and the illusions are gone. To return to them would be to pretend blindness after gaining sight. And sight, once received, is irreversible. Even if you try, you will never be comfortable in falsehood again. That discomfort itself is a sign of your growth. The rise you are experiencing now is not about speed, it is about stability. You are laying stones in the foundation of your future, and each stone is truth. Every decision you make to stand firm in clarity, every step you take away from deception, every moment you honor your discernment strengthens the structure of who you are becoming. This foundation will outlast storms. It will carry weight without cracking. It will remain even when others come and go, and from this foundation you will build not only a future for yourself, but a legacy that generations will stand on. So embrace this season fully. Let go of what must fall. Stand tall in the solitude. Welcome the authentic connections that arrive. And above all, refuse to shrink back into blindness for the sake of comfort. You are rising now not only because deception has been exposed, but because you chose to honor truth even when it cost you. That choice alone separates you from who you once were. And it is in that choice that your true power begins to unfold. The moment of final clarity arrives not as a whisper, but as a thunderclap in your spirit. You realize that the truths hidden from you were never stronger than your ability to see through them. Their silence was heavy, yes, but your awakening is heavier still. And as you look back, you see the pattern clearly, every pause that unsettled you, every contradiction that raised questions, every glance that avoided your eyes. They were fragments of the truth trying to leak through. Now, with your vision sharpened, you see it all for what it was, and in that sight comes liberation. The revelation has cost you. You had to lose pieces of comfort, parts of your circle, illusions you once leaned on. The pain of that loss is undeniable, but it is also the price of freedom. Better to be wounded by truth than comforted by lies. Better to stand in honesty alone than sit in deception surrounded. This realization transforms the ache into strength because you understand that nothing real was lost. What left was only what could not endure authenticity. What fell away was only what was already fragile. What remains and what is being built cannot be shaken. This is the paradox of betrayal. It opens doors to authenticity. The very act that tried to weaken you has forged resilience in you. The silence they used to control you taught you to trust your own voice. The deception they hid behind sharpened your discernment. The loss of their masks revealed the strength of your spirit, and now you stand not as someone broken by their concealment, but as someone rebuilt by revelation. The weight of their silence no longer bends your shoulders. The fog of their deception no longer blinds your eyes. You are standing taller, seeing clearer, breathing freer. With this freedom comes new responsibility. Clarity is not just for your comfort, it is for your calling. You are being prepared to walk forward with a sharper spirit, to build in ways you could not while bound by illusions. You are called to carry this strength into new spaces, to establish relationships where transparency is the foundation, to create paths where others can walk without fear of deception. You are no longer only surviving truth, you are wielding it. Truth has become your armor, your compass, your shield. And with it, no falsehood can hold you again. The legacy of this moment extends beyond you. By breaking free from concealed lies, you are altering the pattern for everyone connected to you. Generational cycles of silence end with you. Patterns of half-truths cannot continue past your line. Those who follow will begin with a foundation of authenticity because you chose to endure the pain of exposure rather than remain in comfort. In this way, your rise is not only personal, it is generational. The truth you embraced becomes the inheritance you pass down, stronger than wealth, deeper than possessions, eternal in its impact. And though this journey has felt isolating at times, you begin to see that solitude was necessary for strength. Alone you discovered your intuition. Alone you learned to trust your discernment. Alone you became unshakable. And now that clarity has become your core, you will draw others who resonate with that same frequency. They will not fear your honesty. They will honor it. They will not run from truth. They will walk in it with you. Your new circle will be smaller, but it will be solid, and with them you will rise even higher. The story closes here not with bitterness, but with resolve. You no longer carry resentment toward those who hid from you. Their silence has already judged itself. Their masks have already fallen. Their absence has already freed you. What matters now is not what they concealed, but what you have uncovered within yourself. Strength, clarity, resilience, vision. You are no longer defined by what was hidden from you, but by what you can now see. And that vision is unstoppable. So walk forward unafraid. Let every step you take be a declaration that deception has no hold on you. Let your presence radiate the clarity you fought to gain. Let your life itself become proof that truth, no matter how long concealed, always rises, always reveals, always wins. The people closest may have hidden it, but their silence could not contain it forever. And now that it has come, nothing can stop you. You are walking in freedom, living in clarity, rising in power. And the rise will not end here. It will echo into tomorrow, into generations, into eternity. The silence has ended. The masks have fallen and the truth has risen into light. What was hidden no longer has the power to bind you. You carry the scars, but they shine now as proof of survival and strength. Walk forward without fear, for clarity is your compass and resilience is your shield. No deception can hold you again. This is your moment to live freely, rise boldly, and claim the future that has always belonged to you. Truth is no longer hidden, it lives in your steps, in your voice, in your presence. You are no longer bound by silence or fear. Walk with certainty, for nothing concealed can stop what has been revealed.